We are now in 2019. 37 years ago, in 1982, in Parur Assembly constituency in Kerala, the first EVMs were actually deployed on a pilot basis. Then the matter went to courts because the law was not amended, whether it is constitutionally and legally valid or not. Finally, the courts upheld it, the law and the rules are appropriately amended. And in a cautious manner, not suddenly, not overnight, not by a subterfuge or by a sleight of hand, the Election Commission introduced EVMs all over the country. So far, any objective assessment shows that EVMs have not affected the outcome of election. Whenever a party or a leader loses the election or does not get the result that they want, often they blame the EVMs. Let me name some names. Late Ms. Jayalalitha. When she lost the election in Tamil Nadu, she complained against EVMs, went to court. Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. When he lost the election in 2004 in the then Andhra Pradesh, he complained and then went to court. Then Mr. Amarinder Singh, Punjab Chief Minister, when he lost the election in Punjab earlier, when he went to court. In all cases, the courts held the EVMs on the whole are okay. Any problems are only local and technical. They're not affecting the election process. They're perfectly legal. In all these three cases, these very leaders were returned to power with handsome mandates with the same electronic voting machines. So we cannot use in a democratic society the technical process of polling as an excuse for electoral losses. It is inappropriate. It is undermining the legitimacy of the democratic process itself. I cannot say when I win the process is good, when I lose the process is bad. This is bad form. This is bad politics. It is bad public discourse. Of course you can. There is not a single human innovation that cannot be tampered with. A computer program, I'm not a computer expert, but I'm certain if you have a computer, my computer can be hacked. If you have in the most sophisticated computers with all kinds of firewalls, people are able to hack. EVMs also can be hacked. The issue is not whether they can be done. The issue is whether there are adequate safeguards to ensure that the integrity of the election process is safe. First, EVMs don't have one common program and a centralized management. There is no linkage between them. These are all discrete machines. They're like calculators. Each one is separate. So there's no one hack that affects a whole constituency or the state or the country. First, we must all clearly understand this. These are discrete machines which are not interconnected. Two, once the electronic voting machines are taken out of the storage, they're always continuously under guard in an appropriate manner. Three, at the polling booth, when the EVM is taken to the polling station, there is actually a mock ballot in which all the agents of the candidates, and primarily the recognized political party candidates, they participate in that, and if there is a result which is contrary to what is actually polled in the mock polling, it is instantly known and then you report and that is replaced. 4. After the polling is over, all these EVMs are carefully sealed, and whether the ballot boxes in the olden era or EVMs now, and until the counting, at every step of the way, they are under proper guard, under the seal of the not only election officials, but the agents of the candidates. Nobody can enter those rooms and tamper with them physically. At the time of counting, from taking the EVMs from the place of storage to the counting place, to actually getting the data out and then doing the count, everything is done transparently in the presence of witnesses and the candidates' agents. Therefore, enough safeguards exist. On top of it, quite rightly, because if there are some doubts, it is the duty of the Election Commission to clear them. They have also come up with what is called VVPAT. That paper trail now is available so that when persons vote, you can verify whether what you pressed, the button you pressed, and the symbol that you see there in the VVPAT are the same or not. If they are not, immediately you complain and corrective action is taken. And I also understand that in a small percentage of cases, this paper trail also is separately counted to verify whether the machine count and the paper trail count, they're tallying or not. Now it's possible this random counting of paper trail and reconciliation with the machine count, that numbers can be improved and that process can be improved further. So on the whole, there is much that is wrong with the politics. But Indian politics is not distorted because of the electronic voting machines or in the polling booth. It is a myth. And if you have, let us say, ballot boxes with the ballot paper in the olden fashion, you'll have the same problems again. In fact, more problems. How do you safeguard the ballot paper? There are cases where ballot papers, unused ballot papers were found outside. Ballot paper stuffing of the ballot boxes was very common. Booth capturing and tampering was very common. So there is no system which is 100% foolproof. In those days, with all the difficulties, elections were still run and nobody seriously doubted the integrity of the election process. And everybody knew that by and large, the election verdicts were in proportion to the people's responses or their own feelings. Otherwise, in 1977, the mighty Mrs. Indira Gandhi and her son would not have lost the election. Congress party would not have been defeated. Otherwise, if EVMs are flawed, the parties in power in the past 20 years or so would not have lost the election. And certainly, the BJP NDA, which is in power at the national level and in states, would not have lost the 3 states where they lost power recently. So it's an absurd notion to think that there is organized manipulation of the ballot boxes or electronic voting machines. The problem is with the nature of politics, the money power in politics, massive vote buying, making it totally plutocracy. Only the super rich in most states of India can even compete. And apart from vote buying, the freebie culture, the divisions in society, caste, region, religion, the entry barriers that prevent either reformist forces or ethical persons to get elected, the incapacity to get elected through ethical means, even if you are personally ethical. So these are more complex challenges. These are not mechanical challenges of polling. To reduce that is actually sucking away the oxygen from the true debate that is required. Namely, how do you reform our political process? But I believe, with good evidence, that this debate is completely misplaced. But it does not mean that more safeguards should not be introduced. For instance, can we use VVPATs in a higher percentage of cases on a random basis for actual counting, manual counting, and compare the machine count with this and make the whole process transparent. So there are ways of addressing it, but there is no reason to believe whatsoever that electronic voting machines are causing a distortion of the electoral verdicts or allowing manipulation of the electoral verdicts. It is completely false, misleading, and it will only undermine the legitimacy of the elected governments and democratic process in India. We are not doing ourselves any favors by that.